Now, while on the one hand there's very altruistic and philosophical inroads into this, and psychological inroads, and epistemological, and many different ways we can get at this, there's another movement that's going on that doesn't require us to get at it from any of this. If any of you are familiar with the quality movement in business, I know the Georgia 2000 folks are, I read your report. You know that the quality movement is giving birth to the science of the learning organization right now. If you're familiar with where Deming's work has connected with MIT and the work that's gone on there regarding the learning organization, the science of the learning organization, Peter Singe's book, The Fifth Discipline, The Art and Science of a Learning Organization. What's happening in organization, in the science of well-designed organizations, is that they are coming to the conclusion that in order to develop a healthy organization, an organization that can sustain itself in its economic context, that can survive in business, that organization needs to become a learning organization. That meaning that you need to be able to look at this organization as if it was a being that's got learning disabilities. As if this whole company, take Apple Computer or Cobb County or the Georgia 2000 Project, and say, this is a being. This being has learning disabilities. We need to develop a learning environment for this being that's internal to itself and external in terms of how it relates to the world, its customers, its vendors, department to department, and so forth. Now, a number of people are on this wavelength. Tom Peters has said the business of business is learning. Deming, who's got the most powerful statement in the bunch, has said the only sustainable advantage of any organization is learning. The only sustainable advantage. And when you unpack that, that means that people are going to change because people move in and out of organizations. The technology is going to change because it's, as you know, it's constantly changing. This year's model is, look at what's happening here, right? All the time, turning over. The particular approaches to organizational structures are changing. How many of you work in organizations that are reorged every 3 months or 4 months or whatever it is? There's new things in vogue, management theories that are in vogue, right? There was just in time, and then there was TQM, and then there's the learning organization, and we don't know where we're going next, but there's all kinds of things that occur that color the way that we think about a business or an organization. And those things are always changing. So we get the technology's changing, the people's changing, the customers are changing, the products are changing. The taxes are changing. The way the government relates to business is changing. Everything's changing. So what is it that allows an organization to have an ability to sustain itself in the world? Well, the only thing that's a sustainable advantage to an organization is how well it learns, how well it's able to adapt to the changing needs of its customers. And what better relationship can a business or an organization have to its customers than a basis that's built on the premise that we're going to learn together how to evolve our relationship? That marketing is fundamentally the facilitation of learning and learning about customer. So as this science is starting to emerge, and it's now, I mean, there's many books about it, it's starting to be experimented with in major corporations. Speaking of that, one of the things that's probably one of the most significant statistics of recent times, that I don't know if any of you are familiar with, is that in 1980, the companies that were in the Fortune 500 list in 1980, half of them were no longer in the Fortune 500 list by 1990. Now, this is big money. This is supposedly the brightest big money in the country, in the world. And they don't have the adaptability to survive a decade. So it's coming right to the edge. The point that I want to make is that you can come at this from a point of view of what's right for the potential of human beings, in general or in particular, your child or everybody's child. Or you can come at this from a point of view of, I got a business and I want to sustain its existence. I want to be able to have some kind of a healthy relationship with my customers and vendors and employees that allows my organization to adapt to its changing needs, the changing needs of its context so that it can survive. And no matter where you come at this, you end up at the same place, that we have to have systems and people who've got a capacity for learning that we've only begun to be able to envision and understand.